Meteorological Agency says northern Nigeria will experience extreme weather conditions in the days ahead that could result to flooding. Sokoto State had been one of the states that had experienced flooding in the previous years. What could be the effect and what is the way forward? This and more on Panorama, coming to you from the Sokoto Network Center. I am Asma Habibu Shagari. Stay tuned. President Bola Tinubu has signed some new executive orders towards ameliorating hardship occasioned by multiple taxations in the country. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila reports that this is coming following complaints about multiple taxation and anti-business inhibitions.
Long ago decided to march beyond the dimness of night into open day of renewed national hope.
It's another step in fulfillment of campaign promises re-echoed in his inaugural speech. The current administration is paying attention to issues constituting hardship on Nigerians and micro businesses by way of taxation.
When you talk about the revenue management, it's not only in tax collection. The starting point is our economic policy, because our aim is not to tax poverty. Our aim is not to tax production. Our aim is to increase our productive activity, capacity to produce. Then we can tax our consumption. And that is the direction of our economic planning.
Indeed, the intentions behind upward adjustments of some of these taxes are quite noble. They were designed to raise revenue as well as address environmental and health issues of concern. However, they have generated some significant challenges for and elicited serious complaints amongst key stakeholders as well as in the business community.
Part of the measures is to address business-unfriendly fiscal policy and multiplicity of taxes.
The Tinubu administration has since noticed that some of the tax policies are being implemented retroactively, with their commencement dates in some instances predating the official publication of the relevant legal instruments backing the policies. This lacuna has created some challenges of execution or implementation.
The new decision affects the Finance Act Order 2023, signed into law by the previous administration, which seeks to introduce some changes to the existing tax laws and regulatory framework. President Tinubu has now ordered the deferment of the Finance Act Order 2023 to commence on September 1st, 2023, and also shifted the Custom Excise Tariff Amendment Order 2023 to commence on August 1st, in line with the national tax policy.
VAT has law, and that's the law that we're following. So I don't know any of those traders that their turnover in a year is more than 25 million. So if law is followed, so it's safe to say that those things are not applicable to those market women or 5%. So because what determines VAT is not percentage, it's just your turnover. So if your turnover is less than 25 million, you are exempted from VAT law.
Both the Finance Act 2023 and the Customs Excise Tariff Order 2023 did not give the required minimum notice period, thus putting businesses in violation of the new tax regime even before the changes were gazetted. As a result of this, many of the affected businesses are already contending with the rising costs, falling margins, and capacity underutilization due to various microeconomic headwinds, as well as the impact of the Naira redesign policy.
Also ordered is the suspension of the 5% excise tax on telecommunication services, as well as excise duties escalation on locally manufactured products. In addition to the suspension of the import tax adjustment levy on certain vehicles, the President has equally ordered the suspension of the newly introduced green tax by way of excise tax on single-use plastic, including plastic containers and bottles.
Now, the category of imported vehicles specifically refers to vehicles of 2,000 cc and above. That's the capacity, the engine capacity of 2,000 and above.
If we've not provided the alternative, it will be inhuman to tax the only option that we have. And that is what we say, that we suspend it. So pending the time we have alternative for the other use of all these plastics. So it is the view of Mr. President that it should not be a good representation that you've not provided the alternative and then we start from imposing the taxes. And then it's wisdom. That is why we have to suspend this for now.
The government promised to create friendly policies to allow businesses flourish across the country. From the State House, Abraham Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
Hope in sight for the suspended population and housing census, as President Bola Tinubu has expressed concern over the delay in conducting another enumeration in the country since the last exercise done in 2006. The President received Chairman of the National Population Commission (NPC), Nasir Isa Kwara, who led his management staff to the presidential villa. State House correspondent Musbaud Wahab reports.
National Population Commission (NPC) management returned to the State House to pick up from where they left off with the previous administration. In the midst of uncertainties, they hoped for a clearer future. After a meeting with the immediate past president in May, the ball was passed to the court of the current administration to decide the fate of the 2023 enumeration exercise. And for his decision-making, the ground covered and procurements made so far are here for the consideration of the president.
We may have to incur additional expenses if we stay much longer than necessary. Conducting a digital census is not cheap. And mind you, this is like a foundational census. Subsequent censuses will not be this expensive, because we've established a frame that we can only be updating.
The exercise is considered long overdue, and the president is hoping the delay would be maximized by producing credible and reliable data. But MPC says the exercise would present many gains, including the geospatial data.
This census is conducted, Nigeria will change completely, because in the process of preparing for the census, we're able to generate geospatial data that will bring in income to the government.
That the geospatial industry by the year 2028 will be generating up to $145 billion, and Nigeria is poised right with the geospatial resources that we have generated in the course of preparing for the census to be part of those who will benefit from the geospatial industry. We have a unique schema that is identifying every locality in Nigeria, even up to the smallest settlements. And we are not just doing that, we are going beyond demarcating the country into rural and urban. We are going into 6 classification, which is the first time a country in Africa is doing this.
The Commission also requested the President's approval for an additional 225.2 billion naira to cover training and field work allowances and the conduct of a second-class trial census. And so, the MPC management apparently got one of its desires, presidential support. But for the financial support and new date, they will have to wait a little longer. From the State House, Musbao and Wahab, NTA News.
The United States government has renewed commitment towards building resilience in Nigeria's critical sectors in line with federal government economic and investment policy frameworks. The United States acting ambassador to Nigeria, David Green, dropped the hint during a high-level engagement with the Gombe State Governor, Muhammadu Inuehaya, on structural re-engineering at the grassroots. Abubakar Akonga.
This strategic session was at the instance of the U.S. acting ambassador to Nigeria, David Green, to Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahya of Gombe State, designed to seek greater mutual cooperation between the two entities. But the end of the fuel subsidy regime gave more life to the deliberation as the acting ambassador lost the federal government for the bold step taken to save the nation's economy from imminent collapse.
And I believe that one of the ways in which the U.S.-Nigeria relationship is going to develop very strongly in the years to come is in terms of the direct engagement that we will seek to have with state governments in order to advance our shared goals.
Improving either on education, the health sector, agriculture, and industrialization, they're very, very key. The fundamentals on which we now extend and spread prosperity to the people.
Gombe is now on the table with assurances of a more robust partnership to meet its 5-point priority and life-changing areas of human capital development in the state and beyond. Now, the new phase of engagement is expected to strengthen collaboration that will engender prosperity in agriculture, security, commerce, and hospitality industry, which the jewel in the Savannah projects. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army has remained one of the strongest pillars of hope of the citizenry as the nation forges ahead to advance her democratic values in achieving a united, peaceful, and prosperous nation. President Tinubu stated this at the grand finale of the Nigerian Army Day celebration 2023 and 160 years existence of the Nigerian Army held at 2nd Division Nigerian Army, Ibadan. Correspondent Oyeyinka Omoli reports.
Itemizing remarkable achievements of the Nigerian Army in internal security, national and regional peace operations since inception in 1863 as a local force, President Bola Tinubu, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, says the federal government is conscious of the security concerns of the citizenry, but it is resolute in addressing all threats to national security within the shortest possible time.
The credit of the Army that despite the numerous internal security engagements, it continues to execute regional and international peace support tasks effectively and efficiently. I am also happy to note the reinvigorated drive towards jointness within the military, as well as the enhanced interagency cooperation that has been fostered while combating insecurity across the nation.
While soliciting renewed energy among various security agencies, the president pledged to prioritize welfare of all men and women of the force in continuous appreciation of soldiers who paid supreme price in the cause of safeguarding the peace and security of Nigeria. Chief of Army Staff Major General Lagbaja said remarkable achievements of Nigerian Army are worth celebrating and appreciated the depth of affection exhibited by the federal government to the Nigerian Army.
This day was chosen and set aside not only to keep history alive, but also to project and educate members of the public on the activities of the Nigerian Army. It also affords us the opportunity to showcase our contributions to the socio-economic and political development of our dear country.
The event clamors with parade, display of equipment, and Chief of Army Staff commendation for outstanding gallant soldiers and exhibition of artwork and other activities.
Activities marking the 2023 Army Day were also held in Sokoto. A sensitization lecture and public engagement with students of secondary schools on historical evolution of the Nigerian Army was held as part of the celebration. Alhat Abdullahi has more.
The history of the Nigerian Army goes back to 1863 when Lieutenant of Royal Navy selected 18 indigents from the northern part of the country and organized them into a local force known as the Glover Hausa. The garrison commander, 8th Division, Nigerian Army Sokoto Brigadier General Ahmed said the aim of the sensitization lecture is to expose students of unity schools to embrace the army and appreciate it as a future career. General Tai Ahmed underscored the role of Nigerian Army as a formidable force in Nigeria, West Africa, Africa and beyond. He said the role of the army includes to maintain the territorial integrity of Nigeria, defend it from external aggression, protect its borders, and ensure order where necessary.
We want to bring the army closer to them. We want them to know more about the army. We want to, if I may use the word, sell the army to them. The army is theirs, it's Nigerian army, it's for the citizens, and we want the students, especially at secondary school level, to know more about the army.
The occasion featured questions and answer session as well as film show on Nigerian Army operations. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Panorama continues in a moment. Please stay. Our discussion segment, which is on flood effects and way forward. And I have with me in the studios Dr. Yusuf Isa Sokoto from College of Polytechnic here. Sir, you're welcome to Panorama.
Thank you very much, Ajasmo.
Sokoto had experienced flood in the previous years. What would be the cause of this?
There are so many causes. In fact, there are the natural causes and there are anthropogenic or human activity-centered causes. When we look at it now, we are in the era of the mother of all environmental issues. When I said this, I mean climate change. Climate change has come and it has been in this part of the world, that is sub-Saharan Africa in particular. And this is attributable to the changing nature of the atmospheric processes that are
Continue Panorama from here, Abuja. The Interparty Advisory Council, IPAC, has set up a committee to carry out a thorough review of the 2023 elections with a view to engender dialogue between all stakeholders on electoral reforms. Chairman of the Council, Yabagi Sani, stated this after the Council's General Assembly meeting in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
This particular IPAC General Assembly meeting is born out of the recent European Union Election Observation Mission report, which the Council emphasized that it has noted the content and recommendations as well as other reports and will respond as active and most critical stakeholder in the electoral process within 2 weeks. IPAC Chairman Yabagi Sani explained that the move is to achieve improved democratic practices in Nigeria.
People are entitled to their opinion. You can't take it away from them. But we, as the critical stakeholders, we have our own opinion. We know what we need. We know what has happened. And that is why we are not so much bothered about what any other person may say. Not even EU. Any other person can say whatever they like. That's why I say you can't cry more than they breathed.
Comparatively, IPAC is of the opinion that the 2023 general election was one of the most meticulously prepared polls in recent times. The Council noted that INEC should be commended for the technological innovations introduced, especially in the accreditation of voters using the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, which has generally been scored high by voters, and that it is on record that the success rate for BVAS accreditation stands at 98% compared to the smart card readers 29.2% during the 2019 general election. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the European Union Election Observer Mission report on Nigeria's 2023 presidential election continues to generate reactions from different quarters. The coalition of civil society organizations for Tinubu and Shetima were at the European Union office in Abuja. Saliu Abdurai Gona reports.
Carrying various placards to physically present their response and observations to the European Union officials, the coalition were at the EU office in Abuja in their numbers. Although they could not gain access to the EU premises due to the presence of heavily armed security operatives, the engagement was held some meters away from the EU office.
Nigeria want to measure up with European Union countries. Nigeria want to be like the United States. Nigeria want to be like the Great Britain. Nigeria is striving seriously to be like every first and second world countries of the world. So we will not henceforth condone any false report. We will not henceforth condone any manipulated reports against our dear country.
The election was fair and fair, and we stand by it, and we stand to defend the mandate. The European Union conclusion about fraudulent election does not arise at all, is unwarranted. And we believe also that it is orchestrated by the detractors of Nigeria's democracy.
Representatives of the European Union refused to make comment despite a request from the journalist. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullah Igwanara, NTA News.
The Progressive League of Youth Voters for Tinubu and Shettima has listed areas of priority for quick intervention by the current administration. At a media briefing in Abuja, the group's national coordinator Abdul Usman Shaibu requested speedy implementation of plans on unemployment, national security, economy, corruption and youth inclusion in the appointments as contained in the Renewed Hope document.
We are using this platform to assure the President and the Vice President of youth support to also assure the youth that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima have the strength of character and dedication to mitigate these problems, even exceed our expectation. As we can see, they are already adopting a headline, commitment to the principles of democratic good governance, and evident in fuel subsidy removal.
Saliu Abdullahi Gwanara reports that the League of Youth Voters for Tinubu acknowledged the leadership activities showcased by President Bola Tinubu so far. And up next is Sports Update with Gift George.
On the FIFA Women's World Cup, Nigeria's High Commission in Australia has charged the Super Falcons to go all out and make Nigeria proud at the 2023 FIFA World Cup. At a welcome party for the team in Gold Coast, the High Commissioner promised them total support from the Nigerian community to ensure the team goes beyond the quarterfinals. Nigeria Super Falcons kick off their campaign against Canada on 21st July 2023. In basketball, ahead of the 2023 FIBA Afro-Basket Women Championship, scheduled for Kigali, Rwanda from July 28 to August 6, newly appointed coach of Nigeria's D-Tigress, Reina Wakama, says she's ready to build a team that will defend the title. Wakama, a former player and currently assistant coach of Tony Brook University, believes with the quality of players in the team and proper preparations, the team will achieve its objectives.
The brand of basketball that I'm going to put out is going to be immaculate. We're going to be fast. We're going to be strong, winning championships, but also doing it the right way. Okay, I want to make sure our culture is tight. I want to make sure our players know, this is bigger than them. We're representing our country. So I want to make sure, obviously, we win.
In volleyball, Nigeria's under-21 women's volleyball team beat their Ghanaian counterpart 3-0 in their first match at the ongoing Africa Under-21 Women's Nations Volleyball Championship Zone 3 in Niger Republic. The game ended 25-11, 25-15, and 25-8.
The way we train the girls, their best is not yet out. Since they've warmed with this match, you will see what they will play in the second game when we are meeting Niger and other countries.
Coach of the team, Rakia Mohammed, says the team is ready to win the tournament and prepare for the 2023 FIVB Under-19 World Championship as Nigeria faces Niger on Friday. With Sports Update, Gift George, NTA News.
And that wraps up Panorama today. Thanks for your time.